And okay. First of all, we will start to speak generally regarding to operation of the landing gears, from which component it consists, and which important point for retractable landing gears we actually have in the system. So here in the example, we have some landing gears. I believe that it's some schematical landing gear from the Boeing 737, most probably, I'm not sure, but at least something similar. So from which element our landing gear will consist? Of course, we will have some main oil shock absorber. Regarding to this thing, we will speak a little bit later. But now for us, well, the most important part is the mechanism which is performing retraction and extension of the landing gears. Of course, our landing gears may have a different type of the driven. So in most of the case on a big jet airplane, it will be, of course, the hydraulic system. And here we will have as number one, the hydraulic actuator. So technically device which will be responsible for moving the gear into the low position and up position. But this is not actually the all options which theoretically possible on the airplane, especially on a light airplane with a retractable system. Of course, it can be also hydraulic system. It can be also electrical retraction system, and in some cases it can be even pneumatical system for retraction and extension of the landing gears. But we need to have at least something which will create this force for extension and retraction. So yeah, okay. We have something which will move the landing gears into the down and up position or extend and retract position, as you wish. But the problem in the retractable landing gears is not only to actually move landing gears in the down or up position. The problem for retractable landing gears that in case if our landing gear is extended, lower it, or they're in a down position, our landing gear is supposed to be fixed in that position. And when I say fixed, I mean that in case if we will perform landing, even if it will be hard landing, our landing gear is still supposed to be in the same place. And the landing gear shall not be retracted back at the moment of touchdown, for example, or at the moment when you're taxiing over the ground. So we need something which will maintain position of our landing gears and extend in extend configuration, and something which will prevent retraction of the gears in case if we have some load on our gear, or technically in case if the airplane is located on the ground. So now let's speak how this thing will actually perform it. First of all, I think we will speak regarding to the elements which will maintain the position of the gear. In our example, we will have this element with the number 3, which will call us a side stay, because technically this is the front projection of our landing gears, with like watching on the main landing gear from the front, and this element of construction will locate it on the side. So in our case, that will be to the right relative to the landing gear. To the right relative to the landing gear, and this element of construction will prevent lateral motion of our landing gear that will go to the right, or to prevent movement of the landing gears to the right and to the left. What else we have here? Here we have also the element which calls us a number 2, and that will be down lock strut. Down lock strut may have a different shape, it may have a different type of construction, but all of them will work with the over-central principle. What is technically the over-central principle, and why this element is so much important for us? Because technically this element will prevent retraction of the landing gears in case if landing gears is standing on the ground, even in case if our retraction system will activate it. So how this thing technically works? On board of the big jet airplane, we have at least 3 systems or 3 things which will actually able to prevent retraction of the gears on the ground. The first, like the wall, like the border for which will try to prevent retraction of the landing gears on the ground, electrical. On the landing gears, we will have a special micro switches. Technically, it will be just small buttons, buttons on the electrical system, which will located somewhere on the landing gears. The principle of operation extremely simple. In case if the airplane is standing on the ground, so technically weight of the airplane is pressing on the landing gears. In case if this weight is pressing on the landing gears, the small button will be in the on position, so it will be like push it. In case if our airplane lift off, so load from the airplane weight will release, this button will go in the off position and will send the signal to the electronic control unit that now we are able to retract the gears. On most of the airplane, in case if this button located in the on position, so it's compressed by the airplane weight, usually the system will electronically block the control signal to the hydraulic system. So technically that will first of all block the hydraulic system from our landing gear, and the second thing which will happen is system will electronically lock the position of the retractional lever, so we will not able to move the landing gears lever in the up position in case it will locate it on the ground, because it will fixed by the electrical system of the airplane. In case if our airplane not equipped with such a complicated electronics, or in case if this electronics give a failure, we have a border number 2. Border number 2 is the hydraulic switch. So in case if the landing gear again located under the load, it will activate the special hydraulic pin, which will disconnect the hydraulic system from retractable system of the airplane. And hydraulically, and hydraulic energy from hydraulic system will not able to go into this actuator, which is responsible for retraction and extension of the landing gears. In case if even this system is, because of some reason, give us failure, we have the last border. It's the downlock strut or over center mechanism. This is the mechanical device, and this device will mechanically prevent retraction of the landing gears in the down position. How this thing technically works? Well, we will have the 2 elements. Usually this will consist from some kind of 2 elements, and in case if our gears in the retract position, so in the position up, it will hold it like that. One side will connecting to the, for example, fuselage, another side will connecting to the landing gear. And in case if our landing gears is going in the retractable position, so it's going open, it's go in a 180 degrees position. So when we have straight axle, so it go from this point to that point, and it will hold in this position until the moment when our landing gears will touch in the ground. In case if our landing gears will touch in the ground, this mechanism will going over the center. So technically it will fix in that position. What is actually happening here when we have this kind of negative angle relative to this opening angle, so if it's going deeper? The problem is that in that case, if our downlock mechanism located in that position, even in case if the hydraulic system will try to retract landing gears, the first of all, it's supposed to push this downlock mechanism like this. And it will be impossible to do because one side is connecting to the fuselage, another connecting to the landing gear under the load. And technically, our hydraulic system is supposed to first of all lift off the whole airplane, and only then our landing gears will be able to retract. And of course, our hydraulic system will not able to lift the airplane just at the 2 points, so just about 3 point nozzle and 2 main landing gears. And this over center mechanism or downlock mechanism will prevent retraction of the landing gears. This is technically the last order from retraction, and of course when the downlock mechanism will go in that kind of position with the over center angle or with the negative angle, we will have a special locker which will lock the downlock strut in the down position, and it will not able to actually deassemble even in case we will try to make it. So this element is technically one of the most important element, which is prevent retraction of the landing gears on the ground. Okay, now let's go to the another one. This is technically the same landing gear, but with the side view. What we actually have here, we have a lot of the elements. Here we have some mounting elements of where landing gear is connecting to the wing or to the fuselage, not that much important for us. Here we will have our over-center mechanism, number 6, downlock strut. This will be technically the same element, just from the another point of view. Here we will have the few elements which will prevent longitudinal motion of our landing gear. So technically this strut will prevent the movement of our landing gears forward and backward in case of the touchdown at the landing or during the ground roll or whatever. What else we have here? We have piston. This is actually our hydraulic actuator, again, just from another point of view, not such important thing for us now. We'll have our main oil shock absorber, and here we will have a couple of important elements. In case if our landing gear is equipped with more than 2 wheels on a one landing gear, we will have some special bar which will provide for us ability to put more than just the one wheel. And this bar we will call as a budget beam. On the budget beam, we'll connecting our wheels on the axle. Also here, we will have the element, if again we have more than 2 wheels on the one landing gear, it's mandatory to have the element which we call as a hydraulic strut. So technically, this will be hydraulic cylinder which is not connecting to the hydraulic system of the airplane, and it will continuously try to pushing this mechanism forward. When this mechanism pushing the forward, if there is no load on our landing gear, so technically we are in the air. We are like lift off from the runway and nothing is actually pressing on our landing gears. This mechanism will pushing the front wheel up. Why this thing is important for us? Well, first of all, from constructional point of view, in case of our landing gears will be in a little bit up position, it will be much easier to fit it into the fuselage. So the landing gears will require less amount of the space in the landing gear compartment. Less space for landing gears, more space for fuel, cargo, or passengers. Also, this thing will provide for us a bit smoother touchdown. So technically, if we will try to perform landing as smooth as practically possible, if our front wheel will located above, we can touch the runway first with the rear wheel, when we can lower in this wheel, and only then we can lower in the nozzle gear. And this thing will provide for us much smoother distribution of the load on our landing gears at the moment of touchdown. And yeah, last but not the least element in the construction, it's that will be the torsion link. What is technically the torsion link, and for which purpose we are actually using the torsion link? I'm usually representing this on the paper, but unfortunately I don't have some papers at the moment of time. So we will try to use, I don't know, that thing. Okay, so technically, what is the shock absorber? Shock absorber is the cylinder, the one cylinder, for example, the upper one, which is located in another cylinder. So inside of this cylinder, we have the upper one. No, it will be not good example because I will put it in my face for 100%. Okay, whiteboard marker, awesome. So technically, we'll have one cylinder with a smaller diameter, which is located inside of the other cylinder with a bigger diameter. In a result, this awesome assembly may easily going up and down like it's supposed to actually go, but at the same moment of time, nothing may stop this mechanism from this kind of rotation. So technically, nothing will prevent the rotation of our landing gears around the oiled axle in case of this kind of thing happening. Maybe also we have a chart. I have charts everywhere. Let's make some marks. So yeah, technically the shock absorber, it will be one cylinder, the lower one, which is located in the upper. And normally shock absorber is supposed to go just like this. So the inner cylinder will go inside, absorb the heat at the moment of the touchdown. But the problem is it's still one cylinder inside of another cylinder. That means that it's easily able to rotate like this. And we're supposed to have some mechanism which will prevent this kind of rotation. Because in some cases, we would like to just maintaining straight and forward direction, not just a random one. And in case of the main gear, we will also always would like to have just the one direction. In case of the nozzle gear, we would like to have also the ability to control the direction of our landing gear. And all of these things will perform it with a thing which calls a torsion link. Torsion link, it will be mechanism which is usually consists from the two elements, the upper one and the lower one, which will connecting like this, one part on the upper part of the shock absorber and the lower one to the lower. And this element will provide for us ability to moving up and down like this. So no, let me fix the finger. So it will provide for us ability to move up and down the landing gear, but it will prevent the rotation of the cylinder, one relative to another. So it will just holding them and prevent this rotation, and provide for us only ability to move it up and down. In case of the nozzle gear, to our upper part of the torsion link will connecting the special steering mechanism. So technically the part which will specially turn in the torsion link, and the torsion link will technically rotate the lower part of our nozzle gear and technically choosing the direction of motion. Okay, now boom. But for the nozzle gear, it will already be a bit interesting because technically construction of nozzle gear will be pretty similar as the construction of the construction of the nozzle gear and construction of the main gear will actually be pretty similar. And in case if we have a nozzle gear, so the only one difference will be that we have some steering cylinders which will performing the control, and our torsion link will connect it not just to the oil shock absorber, but to the steering link, the part which will choosing the direction of our nozzle gear. But generally, again, we have a brush strut, the element which prevents longitudinal motion of our landing gear. We have a hydraulic cylinder which will be responsible for retraction and extension of the gear, and we will have over center mechanism on the landing gear. Okay, now a couple of the words regarding to the shock absorber. Shock absorber is the most typical type of construction on almost all of the airplane with the retractable gear, well, except I believe Cessna 172RG. But even on the Cessna 172RG, we can see this kind of type of the landing gears as a nozzle gear. So technically, inside of the shock absorber, we will have a two-part, oiled part, which is red here on the picture, and gaseous part. Gaseous means, again, nitrogen, which is the blue one. And both of these parts will provide for us own function. First of all, regarding to the gaseous part of our shock absorber. On the airplane, especially if it's big and heavy airplane, it's not that logical to use spring to hold the you don't have sorry. So technically, in case of the big jet airplane, or actually general regarding to the airplane, it's not that logical to use the spring. The problem with the spring, that spring will become weaker after each landing, and usually also with some amount of time, and you will need to replace it. Instead of the spring, similar to the suspension of the car, we will have just a air inside. Well, in our case, not the air, it will be nitrogen, because nitrogen more stable with changing in temperature, but whatever. So we will have some gas inside, which will provide for us function of the spring, similar to the car with a pneumatic suspension. So in case of load on our landing gears increase, so this the lower part will going up, will compressing the gas. Gas will compress, decrease in the volume, like in the picture here on the right side, and pressure inside increase, and we will still able to hold the weight of the airplane, technically, no matter what will exactly happen. But the problem is that this is just a spring, which is made from the gas. In case if you will have just a spring without something which will dampen the oscillation of the spring, airplane will jumping after the touchdown, especially if it will not really smoothly landing. Airplane may start jumping after touchdown, which can be dangerous and can actually create the ballooning effect, which may destroy your airplane. So we're supposed to have some part which will create the damping of this oscillation, and damping of the oscillation will happen with the oil. Oil, it's a liquid, and all of the liquid has a viscosity. Viscosity, it's ability of the one part of the liquid create the resistance when other part of the liquid moving relative to them. So technically, I have here the cup with the tea, and in case if I will have a spoon and I will mix it, it will be kind of simply actually to do. Water, of course, will create resistance from the mixing, but viscosity of water actually not that high. But in case if instead of the water, I will have, let's say, honey, in this case, it will be much more complicated to mix the honey just with a spoon, because viscosity of honey much higher than viscosity of water, because honey creates much more resistance when I try to move one part of honey relative to another part of honey. And this force will exist everywhere, even in the gas, actually, but of course it will be extremely low. And our oil inside will also have proper oven viscosity. And this viscosity will create resistance in case if oil will try to moving from one area to another area. In case of the shock absorber, we usually have two different compartments. One compartment will locate it somewhere in the center, the other part will locate it somewhere on the peripheral part. And in case of our landing gears in the fully down position without load, the hydraulic fluid will go from center to the peripheral, or in case of our picture, from periphery to the center. When we're compressing the landing gears, the oil will have a tendency to go from center to peripheral part. It will happen through the small and extremely tiny holes. And in case if your liquid has viscosity, you have a tiny hole. That means that when oil will go from one compartment to another compartment, it will create resistance. Resistance means friction, frictions means heat, and technically the oil part will convert oscillation or movement of the shock absorber into the heat and damping this oscillation. Without oily part in the shock absorber, again, our airplane will just jumping after the landing, which is not that lovely. Yeah, one more picture with the torsion link. And yeah, now let's speak more detail regarding to the process of extension and retraction of the landing gear. Now we know all of the elements. Now let's pay more attention on the process of retraction and extension itself. Here we have animation with some landing gears with the shock absorber, which is going into retractional position and extensional position. We have our hydraulic actuator here, which is responsible for retraction and extension. We have a shock absorber, which is pink here on the picture, axle, around of which this retraction will happen. And what is the most important is this small orange or amber element. This is our over-center mechanism. And in case if we will pay attention how this element moves, or technically the axle of this element, how it moves, it's the red line here. You can see that it's going over the center or going lower than axle of the landing gear itself. So at the moment when our landing gear is in the fully down position, this element will prevent the retraction of the gear in case we have some load which is pressing on them. Maybe we'll have something simpler regarding to the indication. We will speak a bit. Okay, but this is not the topic. Landing gears supposed to be fixed and locked in a down position, but also the landing gear is supposed to be fixed and locked in an upper position. So at the moment when our landing gear is reaching the upper position or retract position, we're supposed to have some mechanism which will holding the landing gear in this up position. The reason why we're actually doing it like this, because of, first of all, if we will continuously using the hydraulic power, that means we will continuously losing the power from hydraulic system. We can actually use this power for something else. Also, in case if we will not create any lockers which will hold the position of our landing gears in up position, that means that in case if our pressure in hydraulic system will decrease, or in case we experience a complete failure of the hydraulic system, our landing gears will fail and extend automatically, which is again not acceptable condition. So we need something which will lock our landing gears in the upper position. A little bit later, we will try to check the couple of the videos regarding to this thing. And also, if it's not extremely light airplane, we will usually also have doors which is open and close access to the landing gear compartment. And these doors also supposed to operate properly. Again, on our previous picture, we can see that first of all, opening the small doors in the center here of the airplane, the doors is open, and on the landing gears going in an open position. If this gift will actually continuously going, we'll also able to see that those doors will close after the landing gears will reaching the down position. So now let's see on this process a bit more detailing. So typically that will start working like this. That initially our landing gears in a down position and pilot is moving the selector into position up. Yeah, we have a lot of the elements here, but the most important for us will be that we have the inner door, we have also the switch or locker, and we will have a switch which will represent in which position our landing gears is located, and we'll have some locker which will lock the landing gear in a up position, and locker which will link the landing gears in a down position. The same actually for the gear as well. So here we have locker for the up position, and here we have locker for down position, and actuator here and here, which will be responsible for retraction and extension. So first thing which will actually happening here, when the pilot moving the control lever from down position to up position, first thing, the door will open. In case if our airplane equipped with a system where doors going in a closed position after extension, the first thing we will need to open the door for our landing gears. The second thing which will happen, we need to unlock the gear, because again, gear is actually locked in a down and up position. In our case, landing gears is locked in a down position. We can see it here and we can see it here. So the first thing which is supposed to happen is we're supposed to unlock the gear. Immediately when our gears will be unlocked, so technically our gears will be able to retract. The second thing which will happen, and yeah, our lever is still in the up position, the first thing which will happen, our actuator will start closing the landing gear or put the landing gears in a retract position. So it will be pushing the landing gears into the up position until the moment when our landing gears will reaching the special sensor, which will prove that our landing gears actually in the upper position. So here we have some hydraulic switch which will push by the landing gear, and immediately after our landing gears will reaching the proper position, our landing gear will be locked in the upper position, both of them. So in case if our landing gears take the correct position, they are locked in the up position, and our doors going into the closed, our door going into the closed position, and the process is complete. Retraction will happening in the opposite direction. So when we set our lever to the down position, the first thing which is supposed to happen is our doors supposed to be unlocked if they are maybe in a locked position. Our door is supposed to be unlocked and going in an open position. Our main locker of the landing gear, it's supposed to be also one more here. Our main locker on the landing gear is supposed to be unlocked the gear. And the second thing which will happen after unlock the gear from the up position, our actuator will push the landing gears into the down position. When landing gears reaching the down position, they will be automatically locked by our lockers. So technically, everything which we have operated together with the landing gears will always operate with the lockers. If we have doors, doors will have lockers in both position, in open position and closed position. Landing gears will have lockers in the closed position or down position and up position. And the first thing which will happen when we, for example, when we will start to extending the landing gears, we'll need to unlock the door, open the door, unlock the gear, lowering the gear, lock the gear. Retraction will happen in opposite direction. Unlock the gear, retract the gear, lock the gear, close the door, lock the door. In some airplanes, the lock the door and lock the landing gears will happen just with the one action. Again, later on the video, we will see how it's exactly happening. And this is example for hydraulic system. Hydraulic system, the most popular because hydraulic system actually really powerful, and usually not that significantly increase weight of the airplane. Plus, it's much easier to make the retraction or landing gears with the hydraulic system. But for hydraulic retraction of the landing gears, it's good that you will have some retractable, hydraulic system on board of the airplane. In case if your airplane not equipped with a hydraulic system at all, so in this case, you may create the hydraulic system only for the landing gears. But the problem is that this system will design only for retraction and extension of the landing gears. So technically, you will use it only twice during the flight. You will retract the gears after takeoff and extend the gears before landing, and whole remaining part of the flight you will just have an extra weight on board, and also you will spend part of the engine power for rotation of the hydraulic pump, which is actually not that good. So which other options we have? Well, instead of creating the hydraulic system with the engine-driven pump, which will be more logical, we can create the system with the electrical pump. And for light airplane, in most of the cases, that will be the most popular solution. So we will have some electrical motor, which is rotating hydraulic pump, which will pushing the landing gears in the up position and when it's necessary, and in the down position when it's necessary again. So technically, we will use this pump only in case of retracting and extending the landing gears. For light airplane, it will be perfect combination. But for the big jet airplane, not that good. First of all, we already have normal hydraulic system. The second one, all the time when you convert one type of the energy to another type of the energy, not important how efficient this process, you will anyway have losses. So you will have losses, electrical losses in an electrical motor. You will have hydraulic losses in the hydraulic system part, and you will have also the mechanical losses in the mechanism. So efficiency of all of this system not that huge. Okay, but is it actually mandatory to use the hydraulic system for retraction and extension? Nope. We may have a system which will operate directly from electrical motor. So technically, we will have some electrical motor which will connect into the gearbox, and this gearbox will operate. Well, this is not really good quality of the picture. We'll look at them a little bit later. So technically, our electrical motor will connect into the gearbox, and this gearbox may rotate some special shafts, or it may actually rotate and moving some, for example, cables. And these cables will transfer the energy from electrical motor to the retractional gear mechanism. And technically, our retraction and extension will happen mechanically from electrical power or from electrical motor. This type of the landing gears retraction system we will call as a electrical retraction system. So yeah, technically we still have a lot of the mechanism, and in most of the case we will have just one electrical motor for all of the landing gears, but this can make this system actually much lighter because we don't need to use hydraulic system anymore. This is how it practically looks on the most of the light airplanes. Somewhere in the cockpit we have electrical motor which will connect into the gearbox, and the gearbox will technically pulling the cables which is going to the main landing gears, and the cables which is going to the into the nozzle gear as well. And or it will rotate in the one direction, pulling one cable and retract the gears, or it will rotate in the opposite direction and pushing the gear into the down position. So here, nothing actually complicated. What else? For the proper operation of the landing gears is extremely important to have indication. In case if you have airplane with a high wing, or it's multi-engine airplane, especially with a high wing, you usually may have just some mirrors, or you can actually visually check the position of the landing gears. Is it actually properly retract, or it's actually properly extend or not? In case if you have low wing, in case if your airplane has just a single engine, you will not able to see nozzle gear, and you will not able to see the main gear as well. But position of the landing gears will be extremely important for you. So you will need to double check that landing gears are actually retract and landing gears are actually lowered and locked in the down position. How it will actually perform? Well, usually all the time when somewhere close to our landing gears lever, so technically selector which will pushing the landing gears into the up position or down position, which is choosing the position, will be equipped with a special indicator. In case we have 3 landing gears and all of the 3 landing gears invisible from the cockpit, we will have 6 lights. So technically 1 light for each landing gear. Why are we actually using 2 different lights for 1 gear? Is it actually necessary? Yeah, because we never know in which moment of time the lamp or light source which is located inside will burn. And we need to be sure for 100% that, for example, it's not the false landing gears down indication if it's not lighting as a green, but we also need to know that it's actually locked in the up position. So for verifying this thing, we will have a 2 light. The upper light will be red one, and it will be caution or warning. In some cases, it can be amber, but usually it will be red for warning, and the lower part of the light will be green for the lowering gear position. Which kind of indication it will represent? In case if our lever located in the down position and our landing gears actually in the down position, we will have indication green. So nose gear, right gear, left gear, all of these 3 green lamps will illuminate. So technically we'll have 3 green lights in the cockpit. In case if our lever position will be in up and our landing gears will be actually in the up position, in this case, all of this block will be switched off. So if the position of the gear is up and gears are actually in the up position, they're actually in the up position. So in this case, we will have no indication here. But for which purpose we have a warning lights here? Warning lights we will have all the time when position of the landing gears lever has disregard with the position of the landing gears. So for example, my landing gears in the down position, lever in down position, I have 3 green lamp, which means that landing gears in the down position. But then I move the I would like to retract the landing gears after takeoff, and I will move this lever up. What will happen at this moment? My landing gears start to retract, but the problem is that my lever already in the up position, but landing gears not in the upper position yet. So what will happen in this case? First of all, the green lamp will switch it off because they are not in the lower position anymore, and the red warning lamp will switching on. Red lamp on the landing gears will represent for us that that landing gear not in the proper position. This may happen because landing gear is still retracting, or it can actually mean for us that landing gear is stuck in some position. It's stuck in a down position, it's stuck in an up position, or it's actually stuck somewhere in the middle. So technically, we will see the red warning all the time when we have some disregard between position of landing gears and position of the landing gears lever. So I move the selector up. All green lights will switching off because landing gear is not anymore in a low position, and I will have 3 red indicator which will represent that my landing gears not in a proper position. Then my landing gears will finally retract, and these red warning lights will inhibit or switch it off. In case if I will perform extension of the gear, so I will move it from position up to position down. Initially, again, I will have 3 red lights which will represent that my lever position and position of landing gears has some disregard or they are different. And at the moment when my landing gears will reach in the down position, the red lamp will switch into the green one. Practically, that will look approximately like this. So here we have some animation. This will be an up position of the gears. Then we decide to lowering the gears. We have a 3 red because gears in incorrect position, left main one, central one, and right in a down position, so it's green. Then we decide to retract the gears. All of them are red. When landing gears are completely retract, nothing is illuminated. And again, as you wish, lowering the gears, all red. Then when gears reaching the down position, all of them will illuminate green. When we decide to retract the gears, all of them red. In case of landing gears finally reach proper position, nothing on indication. So yeah, warning message when you start retracting and extending landing gears is absolutely normal thing. Okay, so we have something else here in the presentation. No. In this case, you will unfortunately watching on my face. Okay, so what else we need to know regarding to retractable landing gears? But, okay, we already know that system can be electrical driven, can be hydraulic driven. What else we need to know? What to do in case of the failure? So what to do in case if our hydraulic system, electrical system, or normal retraction and extension system failure? Well, all of the airplanes with retractable gear will have some backup or technically emergency retraction, or to say more properly, it will be emergency extension system. Because usually we don't have some system which will in emergency condition will able to rising the gear up. Lowering down, yes, but rising the up, no, it just doesn't have any sense. So technically we need to have some system which will provide for us ability to extend the gears and land somewhere even in case of the failure. Which options we have available? So in case if it's light airplane and we have a hydraulic system which is operate with our landing gears, usually on board of the airplane we will have a special hydraulic pump, hand pump. So usually you are pulling some handle, it's going out from somewhere from the floor of the airplane, and you start to pumping the hydraulic pressure. You pump it manually, and landing gears with the hydraulic pressure which you create manually will go in a down position and locked in a down position. And of course, it will be impossible to retract the gears with this pump because it's designed for emergency situation. Which other option we may have? In case of its electrical system, again, if we have electrical motor, we may disconnect the motor from the system and extend the gears manually. Again, if airplane, light airplane equipped with electrical retractional gear system, you will have a small lever somewhere on the floor. You will just need to pull the handle. When you pull the handle, you are disconnecting electrical motor from the system, and you will manually rotate it like the window on old cars. You will manually rotate this handle and extend and lock landing gears in the proper position. Okay, which other options we have? On some airplane with pneumatic system, you can use compressed air for emergency extension of the landing gears. Emergency extension of the landing gears with the pressure will happening again only in one direction, only in the down position. So technically you are activating the special emergency retraction valve again. It's usually located somewhere on the floor, and landing gears will open and lock with the pneumatic energy. But in case if you have nothing, or in case if it's failure, even standby system, what to do in this case? In this case, we have last but not the least important option for us, and usually exactly this type of the emergency landing gear extension will be used on big and heavy jet airplane. It's the gravity fall. So technically, we can use the gravity force, which is exists all the time, and it's impossible to destroy the gravity force. So this force will always acting on the airplane, on the landing gears, and we can use this force for extension of the landing gears. In case of some Airbus or Boeing emergency extension actually happening with the gravity force. Important thing here for us that emergency extension of the landing gears will will require the couple of important points, well, couple of important devices. First of all, in case if we don't have any additional system and we have huge airplane with a huge and heavy landing gears, usually the gravity force will already enough, especially for the main gears. You just need to unlock the gears from this upper position, and gears will automatically open and locked in a down position. Everything good. With the nozzle gear, we will have important point that in case if our airplane flew in that direction, our landing gears, nozzle landing gears, supposed to be retracted forward. So if we flew in that direction, the landing gear is supposed to retract it like this. For main gear, usually they retract it laterally, so technically to the side, and there is no effect. But for the nozzle gear, it will be extremely important. Why? When our nozzle gear is retracted forward, so opposite relative to the airflow, it will be more complicated to close the gear in case of system operate. But in case of the emergency, when we will perform the gravity fall of the landing gears, when we will unlock the gear, the dynamic pressure will help us to fully open the landing gears and lock the landing gear in the down position. In case if we still flow in that direction, landing gears will retract in opposite direction. In this case, when we will perform the gravity fall of the landing gears, it may actually stuck somewhere between and will not properly lock, which can be dangerous. Landing without nozzle gear may actually create a catastrophic situation. So on a big jet airplane with just a gravity force, nozzle gear retracting forward and extending backward with the support of the air. In case of the light airplane, if they're using the gravity fall of the landing gears, usually the mass of the landing gear relative to the dynamic pressure is not that huge, and this creates problem that gravity force is insufficient to lock the gear in the down position. We need something extra. And usually on light airplane, we are using the special spring. In case if our landing gear system equipped with the additional spring system, which will pull in the gear in one of the direction, the spring will always pull landing gear in a down position. So when our system operate properly, we will need to apply more force to retract the gear. But when we're trying to extend, this spring will help us to make it easier, because this spring will generally operate only in case if we have emergency landing gears extension. What else regarding to the retractable landing gears? Retractable landing gears. Takeoff from the contaminated runway with water, slash, snow, or any other kind of water contamination. The problem is that in case if you take off from any kind of contaminated runway and you are planning to climb on a really high altitude, or in case if you have really low outside air temperature, you may catch icing. Not because of some icing condition in the air, you may catch the icing of the landing gears during the flight, because outside temperature will be going below the freezing point of water, and water on the landing gears may freeze. If your landing gears are actually not retracting, you are not able to do absolutely nothing with it. But with the retractable landing gears, we may expect the problem. That's in case we take off from the slush, from snow, from water, this contamination may stay on our wheel. And in case we immediately after takeoff will retracting the gear, the wet gear which is contaminated with some water or ice may actually freeze in a up position. And of course, if they're freezing in an up position, we will not able to lowering them. In this case, usually according to the operational manual of the airplane, will recommend it to leave the landing gears in extension position for some amount of time. So technically, we need to wait, well, usually less than 1 minute, when the dynamic pressure or air will technically blow out all of the contamination from the wheels, and then we can safely retract the gears in an up position. This applies not only to the light airplane, but also for the big jet airplanes, especially for Boeing 737 or Embraer E-Jets or Bombardier CS series, which is Airbus 220 now, because they don't have the additional door which is closing the landing gears in the up position. And if you're watching on this airplane from ground, they always have visible tires. It creates the problem. Again, if the tires are visible, there is a lot of the airflow blowing on them, and it may actually bring the contamination even from the air, and may actually partially size the landing gear in an up position. It's not a big problem for the big jet airplane with powerful hydraulic system. The problem is that you can actually make damage of the landing gears, or one of your tire may just blowing up inside, which is not really lovely if you will remember which pressure we have inside of the big jet airplane tires. What else? Emergency extension, lowering locking, something else. I believe generally supposed to be dissolved. Let's try to check a couple of the videos. And also that one, and yeah, 0.747. Everybody loves 0.747. Okay. Sharing of the screen. I hope my laptop will not blow up because of this. So amazing noise, sorry. Come on. So what we have here? Here we have Embraer. No, wait a second. Now, here we have Embraer E190, and yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This type of the airplane don't have the backside doors, so technically the landing gears are not fully covered in case of the retraction. But again, the principle of operation and the logic of the system absolutely the same, like we already described. So we have a small door here. We have a landing gears with the over central mechanism or down lock, which is located here in that area. And we have a retractional cylinder. I believe that it's not visible from that point of view. And the landing gears are locked in the down position. The first thing which will happen, it will unlock, going up and locked in the upper position. So let's just check how it will looks like. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, as you can see, the first thing which is happening, the over central mechanism opens, and it's perfectly visible here. Boom, Our central mechanism is open, and only now landing gear is actually able to be retracted, because before this over central mechanism was locked. Landing gear is going in the up position. The small additional doors will also go in a closed, more or less position. And yeah, gears is reaching the position, locked in a position up, and retraction actually complete. And yes, you can see the tires is still visible on the belly side. It's not that good for aerodynamical point of view, but it may significantly reduce the mass of the airplane, because you don't need to create the huge door with the hydraulic actuator system, which will close this kind of compartment. Well, in this video, I believe nothing more interesting actually would happen. Let's try to check the second one. Why you disappear? I'm switching. How it goes? Operational check. Okay. So here we have something which more or less looks like Boeing 747 if we will counting the amount of the landing gears. And yeah, again, over central mechanism with the down lock somewhere here. As you can see, the airplane is lifted off on a special hydraulic jacks, which will holding the mass of the airplane. And the guys is performing the check of the landing gears. So landing gear system is now feel that landing gears is lifted off. So technically no load is acting on the airplane landing gears, and the system may provide normal retraction of the landing gears. Come on, guys. Yeah, so in case of the Boeing 747, they already have the doors. So the first thing which is happening here, it will be the opening the doors for the landing gear compartment, unlock the gear from the down lock position, retraction of the landing gears. Not that quick retraction, but the landing gears is also not that light. Landing gears in the up position, locked in the up position, then doors start closing, doors locked. And only after the doors actually locked, we can say that our landing gears are properly retracted. Now the whole of this process with the landing gears extension. So the first thing which is going to happen is the door will be unlocked, and they usually just like boom, quickly goes in a partially open position, unlocked, going in an open position, unlock the gears, lowering the gears, and again, pay attention to that mechanism, locked in a down position. So now landing gears will not able to retract, and then doors is closed. And yeah, retraction of the second pair of the gears, but the principles are pretty similar. I think they will have nothing more interesting here. Okay. Come on, YouTube, wake up. So yeah, now we are inside of the landing gear compartment of the Boeing 737. Important thing for us is the checking the position of the wheel at the moment of liftoff. So it will start to extend. The landing gears will feel that there is no more load, and pilot is start to retraction of the landing gears. When landing gears start to retracting, you can see that some mechanism, this big one, which is much lighter, will start to moving. Technically, this mechanism is responsible for applying operating the braking cylinder. And after takeoff, the brakes on the main landing gears will apply it automatically for idea to stop rotation of the gear. If gears will still rotating after retraction, it may actually make a damage of the some element inside, or blowing up just a tire. So running. Still running. Come on. The lift start to generate it. The gear start to going lower, lower, and lower because airplane start to lift off. Positive rate of climb. As you can see here was the movement with the brakes because our tires are not rotating anymore, and landing gears going in up position when positive rate of climb established. And yeah, we're still able to see outside. Also here on this video was a perfectly present why it's not really good idea to actually try to flew on the airplane in the landing gear compartment or trying to flew on the airplane without ticket. First of all, there is not that much of the space inside of the landing gear compartment, and most probably the landing gears will just squeeze you and smash you, because the landing gears weigh a couple of the tons, and hydraulic system provides the enough force to actually moving the gears, even in case if we have a high dynamic pressure acting on them. And the second reason, even if you will find a place where you will not smashed by the landing gears, the landing gear compartment never actually hermetized and never actually heated. So technically choose the thing which will happen with your faster, or hypoxia and dying without oxygen, or you will freezing to death. In both of the case, not that lovely option. Again, this thing will go close position. Again, 747. Nothing interesting. Yeah, I will also like to share the one video with you. Here it is. This one for share, this one for demonstration. Here will be perfectly represented the lock of the landing gears in the upper and down position, because there is a special stand for the testing of the landing gear mechanism. And here this guy will showing us how the system is working. But not from this point of view. The down locker, the up locker is located on the door itself. So this is the doors, and at the moment when landing gear is reaching the up position, doors will close because of the movement of the landing gears, and the same mechanism which is closing the door will lock the landing gears in an up position. So you can see this mechanism to which the shaft of the landing gears moving. The landing gears go in up position, it's lock the door, and at the same time this element works like the locker in the up position. This is one more locker in the up position for the whole landing gear, and this is the locker for the down position, and fix the landing gear in the down. And yeah, also I will share the link on this video in the chat, and you can check it after our classes, because this video technically collect all of the information which we had during our lesson. So boom, 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 boom. Where is our meeting? There. The link for this video will go into the chat. You may actually check it after our class, and here you can find all necessary information regarding to retractable landing gear system. And I will need to ask you to click on the attendance button in the worksheet, please. Here in the chat, we have a link to our worksheet. Let's fill attendance and we will complete it. So attendance is active from now. And yeah, open the second link which I sent in the chat and please click on the attendance button. I also have the one more thing which we will need to discuss. Start sharing. Regarding to operation of the landing gears. Regarding to operation of the landing gears. In case if our airplane equipped with a retractable landing gears, we will have two important speed for us. The maximum limitational speed for the flight with the landing gears in extend position. We will have VLO and VLE, where VLO is the maximum landing gears operational speed, and VLE is the maximum landing gears extensional speed. What's technically the difference? From the name, it's kind of logical that one speed is for retracting and extending of the landing gears, and another speed is the maximum speed with the landing gears in a down and lock position. Usually, VLE will be a little bit higher than VLO. So technically, our landing gears, in case of they're in extend position and lock, our speed for the landing gears extension position will be higher than landing gears operation. For example, maximum landing gears operational speed will be 180 knots, and maximum landing gears extension speed 190. So technically, if our landing gears will stuck in a down position, we need to have ability to perform normal and safe flight, at least to make a diversion to the some takeoff alternate airfield. With the landing gears in extend position, our airplane may fly a little bit faster than at the moment when our airplane extending or retracting landing gears. So speed for retraction and extension will a little bit lower than operational like landing gears extension speed when it's fixed in a down position. The problem is that this speed will not present on the airspeed indicator at all, but you can find this information in your operational manual. And the similar logic like with the maximum operational speed of the airplane, that you are not able to exceed the speed with the landing gears in extend position for VLE, and you shall not extend or retract landing gears in case of your speed higher than VLO, landing gears operational speed. In case if you will try to operate the landing gears at the higher speed, or you will fly with the speed faster than maximum landing gears extension speed with the gears down position, in a good case, you will just destroying the part of the doors. So technically, the handles which is holding the doors in open position will not able to hold the door under this huge dynamic pressure, and they will just fly away from the airplane. In the worst case, you can actually make the doors which will separate from the construction of the airplane can make a damage of the fuselage, and it will losing stability. All of the construction may collapse. In some cases, the excessive dynamic pressure may actually destroy some mechanism and the system which is located on the landing gears. For example, it may not be good affecting on the high pressure hydraulic pipes which is connecting to the landing gears. So if you will extend the speed, exceed the speed, you have probability to make them damage and general damage of the landing gears. So never fly with the gears down in case of your speed above maximum landing gears extension. And I believe that will be, that's all that I can say regarding to the landing gears, like it is retractable landing gears. So just like this thing. Yeah.